The Pikmin series, a game series loved by many for its strategic gameplay and for its lovable creatures. I played the first game as a kid and all my Pikmins kept getting 360 no-scope by enemies, so I got butthurt and traded the game in for $5 at GameStop. However, there's enough people who are actually good at video games to form r/Pikmin, a subreddit where 18,000 Pikmin fans can discuss how good of a song Environmental Noises is. There are 3 Pikmin games with a 4th one nearly completed, and that 4th one has been nearly completed for 5 years. In fact, the amount of Pikmin 4 gameplay footage fans have seen is so large that it's equivalent to the amount of times I've had sex. So r/Pikmin members would have no choice but to patiently wait. But there's one particular thing that separates r/Pikmin from most of the subreddits dedicated to specific franchises. For most franchises, there's a bicameral structure, a main subreddit for stuff like discussion and fan art, and a second subreddit for memes and shitposts. And oftentimes, the main subreddit will ban memes and other low-effort content in order to maintain a separation of power. One example is the Berserk franchise, which is r/Berserk for the exact same brand tattoo and r/Berserkle Jerk for the exact same causality joke, with both subs staying that way even throughout the manga's infamous hiatuses. You might think it's weird to compare a subreddit dedicated to a Nintendo game to a subreddit dedicated to a series with lots of sex, violence, and sexual violence, and you would be correct. The creatures in Berserk aren't nearly as brutal. Unlike that of most other fanbases, the Pikmin fanbase's Reddit presence has a unicameral structure, a main subreddit with no restriction on memes. And this structure, when combined with the lack of information on Pikmin 4, would cause something to brew at r/Pikmin. r/Pikmin had completely ascended. The subreddit had the memes that usually come about when an IP is on hiatus, but some of the posts went even further beyond. By allowing memes on their subreddit with no restrictions, they also allowed shitposting. A common misconception is that a shitpost is the exact same thing as a meme, but that's not the case. Shitposts are instead the evolved form of memes and are in such a high plane of existence that any normal person would find them incomprehensible. While r/Pikmin was host to some regular memes as well as some fan art and discussion, the bulk of the subreddit's output was shitposting. Members of the subreddit decided to put PNGs of Pikmin characters on whatever they could think of, although sometimes they skipped the PNG part. Pikmin were put on pictures of all sorts of restaurants like McDonald's, Wendy's, and Pizza Hut, and then other stores like GameStop, AutoZone, Blockbuster, and The Bank. But the shitposts on r/Pikmin extend past the boundaries of mere buildings. Olimar ran into his ex at a coffee shop. All the members of Pink Floyd were replaced with Pikmin. Red Pikmin lost an arm. After enough time, a Twitter user would make a semi-viral tweet about how the subreddit had gone completely feral, causing more people to take notice of the subreddit's strange posts. But after half a year of these types of posts, the prayers of Pikmin fans would be answered. Nintendo announced a port for the series' 3rd installment with various changes from the original, such as quality of life improvements, new story missions, and also being on a console people actually bought. Most r/Pikmin users went back to normal, although some members were so far gone that their reactions to this news were incomprehensible. Unfortunately, it's unknown how long this state of relative tranquility will last. It's entirely likely that a couple months after the game's release, r/Pikmin users will return to their feral nature, but only time will tell. Hey, that's the end of the video. If you enjoyed, please do the stuff that all the cool YouTubers beg for, and like, subscribe, and comment. Especially that last one, because whenever a video of mine doesn't get any feedback, I'm one step away from becoming just as feral as the r/Pikmin users.